Okay, so here's the thing. Sing is a perfectly acceptable movie. It's exactly the kind of movie where the only thing that needs to be said about it is, I enjoyed that. That movie made me smile, without any real embellishments, no real drawbacks, or extended praise. But this movie just can't help but leave a bad taste in my mouth because of the relentless, oversaturated propaganda-level marketing Illumination has done for this film. Which honestly is not that surprising. My saying has become depressingly redundant for a reason, in that almost every animated film trailer at the very least gives away their best jokes, and Illumination specifically has had the same ADD-proof strategy for all of their movies. Oh, but this time they have crossed the line into worst advertising practices Hall of Fame alongside Terminator Genesis and Castaway, because their final trailer, unveiled right before Moana, gives away the conclusion to almost everyone's character arc. I mean, not that they couldn't be predicted somewhat, but still. And even before then, they were basically revealing most of these characters' most pivotal moments, which is particularly bothersome because this is an ensemble movie, meaning every character's arc already has to be shortened to make way for the other 6 characters. So you've basically already seen most of the time that these characters spend on screen. Certainly most of the best bits, so now all you're left with is the meh scenes, and also the final performance, which I'm sure will be on YouTube any day now. In fact, pieces of it is already up there thanks to the Fine Bros. And granted, the final performances are really good and fun, but for that to be the only thing to look forward to that hasn't already been revealed in trailers, that ain't good. But I can already hear the opposing argument, hey, the advertising is temporary, the movie is what's going to last. And while I persist that over-advertising can and has dampened the theater experience, that is basically true. The movie, as many have already remarked, is a pleasant experience. Yeah, the entire premise of anthropomorphic animals doing pop songs is a very low common denominator, even pandering kind of premise. But you know what? Sometimes simple, cheap satisfaction is all we really need for an hour and a half. And it gives us exactly what it advertises. As usual, Illumination's animation and anthropomorphic designs are fantastic and very aesthetically appealing, and oddly look more humanoid than any of their actual human characters. It has that highly physical, absurd sense of humor that they're famous for, and at least here the idea of using pop songs is baked right into the premise so it doesn't just come out of nowhere. And all of the characters are very sympathetic and likable. Cliched to the rafters in the ordinary person wants to become a star tropes, the underappreciated mother, the one whose father doesn't understand them, the shy one, and it doesn't really execute any of those amazingly enough to rise above those cliches, but it oddly fits okay enough for a movie whose entire philosophy is uncomplicated warm fuzzies. Aside from predictability, if I really wanted to put in the energy to have a beef with anything in the actual story, it would probably be McConaughey's Buster Moon, whose story was not put in the trailers because it was largely uninteresting. His childhood dream of owning a theater and his design and his performance ultimately makes him charming enough so that he still comes off as likable, but his arc basically consists of begging rich people for money and stealing and lying to make this whole less interesting version of American Idol work, which really is kind of dead weight when we'd rather be watching what the singers are doing. And if his entire problem was just that he needed money, that problem should have been solved the minute he saw a huge line lined up outside his theater and just charge everybody $5 to auditions, or sell tickets for people to watch the auditions and then have the audience vote on who would move on. Because God knows he's not a very good judge of character. He dropped somebody from his initial list just because it was inconvenient to have to talk to somebody much taller than him. Also, no one at any point really answers the question.
A singing competition.
Who wants to see another one of those?
Yeah, that one. Still, overall, a mostly satisfying experience depending on how cliche-phobic you are that day. I just really feel like this could have been just a little bit better if the singers' character arcs were just a little bit more fleshed. Heck, if the singer characters had actually interacted with each other more than they do. Yeah, most of their most effective moments are when they're by themselves, either singing or sulking. And I just feel like if they had conversed and then maybe moved forward in their arcs together, it just would have made it a lot more interesting and also saved some screen time. But yeah, it's fun! Songs and dancing and stuff. It's just so evident that the effort Illumination puts into wringing as much money as they can from these movies, on the level to rival the greats, domestically anyway, but they just don't put that same amount of effort into their scripts, which are consistently the weakest parts in all their movies. And at the same time, I know there's nothing wrong with just being simple fun, and nothing wrong with not being a masterpiece. Illumination's strong suit just happens to be coming up with mass appeal concepts and energetic animation. I mean, for as meh and cliche as it was, What Your Pets Do When You're Not There is just such a brilliant, relatable concept. I can't believe I can only think of one other big movie that's done that. I just can't help but feel that this much hype should go to a movie that really warrants it. And that all it takes to make a movie successful is to just saturate the hell out of it. But just as it is as a movie, it's just kind of adorable fun. This really is just the movie equivalent of Milk and Cookies, just store-bought. And I'll probably see it more than once, which is more than I can say for Pets. So yeah, Sing is cute, and it's gonna make way more money than Kubo. So have fun with that.